Hello out there, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're
Hello.
just two Jewish old ladies here on a Saturday morning when we should be in shul,
Yes,
and
that's
we're not. Here we are messing around with these internet things. Oh my God.
Oh, look at that. Look at all the people joining.
Hello, people. It's so nice to see you all.
Good morning. It's
Good
very
morning.
early for me.
I
It's
know.
8:30 in California, and, like, lately, I don't know what's going on. I'm waking up at, like, 10. Sometimes I'm creeping into I know what's going on. Let's not pretend. Let's just get this out of the way, Marissa.
Say it.
All I do all day other than quilt, and I have been getting my work done, but I spend the vast majority of my day watching and rewatching Heated Rivalry, and then the vast majority of my night scrolling on Heated Rivalry TikToks and Instagram. So
I have to say,
I'm
my
very
daughter has
tired.
created some really good ones. I'll have to forward
Oh,
them to you.
share it with I don't even this has never happened. I'm gonna write a Substack about this today because I realized that it's Heated Rivalry, Four Weddings and a Funeral, and Persuasion by Jane Austen. Those are the only 3 sort of objects of, dare I say, art that I can watch and rewatch and read and reread over and over again. Like, I've watched the whole series 4 times in the past week. Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently, and I read this on the internet, so it's true that rewatching shows is not a sign of anything bad. In fact, it's a sign of something good.
Which
That
is what?
I think it shows. I think I remember the words were like it shows that you're like have a very strong intellect and you're using it to self-soothe.
Oh, that's like swearing. Swearing means you're smart too. So if I just spend all day watching Heated Rivalry and
And
screaming
swearing.
"fuck you" and "fuck off," then I'm just going to be like at the peak of my intellectual capacity. Is that what we're saying?
You know what you
Okay,
say?
good.
I say, fuck you, Mensa. I got
I
this
see.
all buttoned up. And I also feel hi to my brother Paul, who's there. Hey, Paul,
Hey,
calling,
Paul.
tuning into us from Brazil. Um,
Whoa.
and I'm obviously I have my antenna up today, so I'm getting better reception than usual. But I was empowered by one of your Instagrams that's had your hair in fabulous, was like pulled
Oh,
up, the curls were holding, and you said the key phrase, which was, "It takes 6 hours for my hair to dry,
totally.
and you gotta leave
Totally.
it like this." But when it comes down,
I
I'm
know.
like
It's
a
so great.
1940s glamour queen.
My
Um,
husband once said to me, "So who is the hair for? Because it's wet all day." And then you take it out of the clips, and then you crunch it, and it's like 10 o'clock at night. So, I'm like, I don't know. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know
I don't
either,
know.
but but there's those
Me, for like a
moments.
brief moment when I'm brushing my teeth at night, then I have great hair, and then it's all over.
Or I take them out as I'm in the car and I kind of do a flip, and it's only for me and my Volvo, really, you know? But the Volvo, I think, appreciates that I
I'm
make
sure
an
it does.
effort.
I'm
Make
sure it does. I'm
um,
sure it does.
are there I would like to know if there are any other curly-haired people out there aside from my brother Paul, who I know has curly hair, because any of you out there who have curly hair will understand what we're talking about. This
Yes,
idea that, like, I could have wet hair all day long and
all
all
day.
that work. And for whom? The dog? I don't know. Anyway, it's a pleasure to have.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here,
It's a pleasure to have
even at this
Waldman.
early hour.
Yes, and you have to remember that here in New Jersey, it is bright and sunny and almost
Are
lunchtime.
you in Montclair?
I am in Montclair, New Jersey.
I grew up in Richard, New Jersey.
You did?
Uh-huh.
That's so
I did.
close.
It's very close. It's
It's
very
just up
close.
there,
It was
sort of.
not fashionable when I grew up there.
Oh,
Let's just say.
Ridgewood is, um, has really good restaurants now. It
I know, which is
rivals
so
Montclair.
crazy. It's so completely mad. When I was there, it was super waspy. It was like the only town that had no Jews except like
For Summit,
us.
where I
Yeah,
grew
it
up.
was like it was just such a weird little like there we were right next to Fairlawn, but no Jews. And there was like the Ridgewood Women's Club. It was super, super waspy. Everybody wore like preppy clothes.
Preppy
And then
clothes.
you would
Yes.
like, go to the next town over and it was like Jersey. It was like, you go one town over and you're living in Jersey.
I
So
just had this conversation with my son about growing up in Summit, which was the Ridgewood of Northwest Central New Jersey.
Yes.
Um, and all preppy, all thin little waspy girls.
Right.
And little like what was the word? Zaftig me.
Yeah.
Just didn't look at all like them. And the kind of people who would come into our house because we were book Jews. People know
Mm.
the difference between book Jews and mirror Jews. Anyway,
Yes.
and
We
we were
too were both Jews. Our collection of Judaica was award-winning. Ask me about, any book that was ever written about the Holocaust, we had on
we had yes, and now I have many of them over there, and my brother Paul, who's on the phone, has many of them too. Anyway, they would walk into my house and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, is this like a branch of the public library?" You had
Oh
that.
god.
Anyway, luckily, I'm really over my time because it's been how many years since I lived there, and yet still the scars run
I
deep.
know, right? I once when I actually, I was a terribly unpopular kid, like, seriously, seriously, I had from the time I was little, through high school when I stopped giving a shit and suddenly,
Yeah.
I had friends. Um, but I remember once taking my kids when they weren't that small past George Washington Junior High School and having, like, a physical reaction of horror, and I thought, "When does that end? When does the trauma of being 13 like, 'cause, objectively, there are
Yeah,
worse places to grow up, like, I don't know, Ukraine, Israel,
Israel.
you know?
Right. And I'm sorry, guys, I just have to readjust my antenna up here. Um, yeah, a lot of worse places to I mean, who am I to complain?
I
And
know,
I
and yet
literally I
I
grew up in a
bear
town that had
the body keeps the score of George Washington Junior High School.
I went to my high school reunion, which was something I thought I would never ever do because why would I inflict that pain on myself? I took my friend Adam. It's like, you're meeting me there and we're walking in together. And I I was surreal. The lights were really low. It felt to me like I was going into it was like a
Which
dream.
reunion? What year was it? How many years
Um,
out, or do you not wanna say?
it was the most recent one,
Okay.
so it was 40. Um, yeah,
Were the cool girls still cooler even if they were, like,
a few of
Summit
them were.
matrons?
A few of them were still, like, super cool, and one of them was, like, wearing, like, a really cool, like, leather skirt, and she looked like a really well-to-do realtor. I hope she's not listening. She's not. She like she was doing really well in real estate, and then there was a few others that, had just they'd settled, you know? My
Like
mother had
the
said if high school is the best time of their lives, then you have to feel sorry for them.
Yeah, my mother used to say, this is what my mother used to say, "I just don't understand. I was so popular." I know.
I'm so sorry. Can I send you something like a
Yeah,
present or
cookie.
something?
Send me a cookie. I know. I went to my 10th the last one I went to was my 10th reunion, which is like it felt like I'd been, out of school forever. It was the only high school reunion I ever went to. And I went to, like, spite them, right? Because I just graduated from Harvard Law School, and my fancy new boyfriend who'd, like, been on the New York Times bestseller list,
Ooh.
what bought me this little slinky black dress, and I was a size 2. Yes, I was.
Oh,
And I, like, went and I was like, "I'm gonna show them," and I was still the unpopular girl, like, how did that happen? Like, objectively, but, so I
no.
sat with my friend Jerry Brockwell in the corner, and we made obnoxious comments to each other about everybody, just like it was in the cafeteria in circa 1980.
Totally true, exactly the same.
Mm.
I was so glad Adam was there so we could do that. Although I will say I met my friend, Diane last night or 2 nights ago for the first time since, like, we were in our 20s, and she was one of my high school friends, and we both sat there in our old age here and started talking about how awful high school was. Someone says Deb said, "Oh god, last time I went, I thought, who the hell are all of these old people?"
I
I
know.
t Yes, that was totally there
I
was a
always
bunch of
think that
guys
about
there.
the men when I've gone to my Wesleyan college reunions. I'm like, "Look at all these young women and these ancient, fat, bald men. What class are these? Oh my God. I know. I slept with that guy.
Um, yeah, they really do, trigger old traumas. Are there people out there, that enjoy their reunions? I would love to know. Maybe you had the best time of your life, and I don't mean to besmirch your great high school experiences. I really do not. I think I'm just bitter. I really am.
We're just bitter.
I'm just gonna be really honest about it. I have
So
nothing
I
else to
guess
say.
that's a theme of this, like little old Jewish ladies we've gone through, like technological
Oh
incompetence
my
and a
god,
little
press the
bitterness
button.
and
Yeah, we're gonna be, just channeling the little old ladies thing, and we're gonna be trying to work with this technology. Um, but the truth is, you've been quite a busy woman, Eyelet Waldman.
I have been a bit busy.
And, for those who've just popped in because they thought, "Golly, let's see what's going on," I do wanna remind people that you are a highly published and well-published authoress, and,
Ooh, I like
6
that.
novels.
Authoress.
Authoress. Um, it's author
Wait,
tricks.
wait, how many let me I don't think that's right. Let me see. 11 Other Pursuits, Red
Mhm.
Hook Road, Daughter's Keeper, Love and Treasure.
I like she knows all of this.
Oh God, am I forgetting any? The one that's coming out now, which is called A Perfect Hand. I think that's 5. Am I missing one? Oh, I just got a phone call.
I
That's right.
I I
Speaking this
did
up.
I counted, and I counted 6 novels, and then the
Okay.
series, the Mommy
The
Tracker
murder
mystery
mysteries,
series. Mhm. But
and then a couple of books of nonfiction too.
yeah, that nonfiction stuff.
Mhm.
Um, Sue J just said, "I hated high school. I found out many years ago I was on the alumni lost list. I told the person to keep me there."
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Kate McDermott, who is a lovely human being and would be the person who liked everybody in high school, I think, right, Kate? You're because she's a really nice person. She makes pie, and is brilliant at it.
I love pie.
She's a
My
best.
daughter's wedding, that's what my daughter wanted. She doesn't like cake. So we just had there was this incredible woman. Sophie got married in Maine where we have a house. We have a house in Brooklyn, Maine. And Sarah, the pie lady, made enough pies for 120 people. It was so incredible. Like more pie than you know. And she did dozen different kinds of pie. It wasn't the same kind of pie. I highly recommend an all pie wedding dessert table. Yeah,
Oh. Oh, wow.
so good.
Okay, I'm gonna hire Kate McDermott to like, we can Mark and I can renew our vows or something. Um, or I suppose my children could get married. They might not like pie, though. Anyway,
How old are
I'm
your kids?
overthinking this. But, one of the other things that you did, aside from I wanna talk about you have a book coming out, I wanna talk about that, but the other thing I wanna talk about is Unbelievable, which is from
Oh,
a
okay.
a few years ago. Yes, Paul, I did cater your wedding. Um, I made a very nice cake. Um, so you executive produced it, you
Right. So
co-developed it.
I found the project. It was actually, I was a public defender back in a previous life,
Mhm.
and and then I did a lot of like drug policy reform. I taught criminal law and constitutional criminal procedure in law school at Loyola in LA, and then I had a gig teaching a seminar. I created this seminar called "The Legal and Social Implications of the War on Drugs" here at Cal.
Oh, wow.
That's UC Berkeley Law School for those of you who don't aren't in California. We call it Cal. I don't know what it is. Um, so criminal justice has always been a real interest of mine. So I would get ProPublica, but also this publication called the Marshall Project, which is great, which is all
Mhm.
criminal justice stories. And this was a joint ProPublica Marshall Project story. And I woke up a morning, I sat down, I got, my dump, and there it was. And I read it, and within like 3 minutes of reading it, I had called up a producer who I know who I'd worked with before developing pilots together. And I said, Sarah, read this right now. I'm texting this to you. Read it right now. And whatever you have to do, option this for me. And it was, it's just such an incredible story.
Mhm.
So for those of you who don't know, it's a true story. The article was just, a reported piece, and then it was made into they expanded into a wonderful book. Um, And the article was called An Unbelievable Story of Rape. And basically what the story is this young girl is she's a former foster kid. She's living alone in an apartment as part of this community of former foster kids who it's kind of a sort of supportive community, but they each have their own apartment. And a guy breaks into her house in the middle of the night and rapes her. And she does everything right. Everything right. She's like found and she escapes from her bounds, but she calls the police. She cooperates with the investigation every step of the way. And then they immediately decide that she's lying. They grill her in the most horrible way. She's attacked from all sides. And ultimately, she is forced into confessing to filing a false report, which is a big lesson for everybody that confessions are frequently forced. It's very difficult. Like, I would say the presumption should be that you do not trust a confession. Cops are liars and exaggerators and abusive, and you don't want to trust them. Period. End of story. Anyway, the former public defender in me will now chill out. But so she goes on to struggle terribly in her life, and then years later, and this narrative is compressed a bit in the TV show that we made out of it. These two female police officers. Gosh, I wonder if that had anything to do with why they treated this story differently. They each at independent police departments had rape cases, and cops in different police departments almost never work together. It's a really crazy phenomenon. There's all this competition, but these two women were just like, no, we want to catch the guy,
Right.
and if of course we're going to work together. So they created a sort of task force, and almost everybody who worked on this task force was female. Different at all different levels of the police, investigators, CSI people, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they got the guy. They tracked him down and they found him. And it turned out that this young woman was raped. She was the first victim of a serial rapist who raped, God only knows how many victims, because he had a hard drive with there was tons of computer evidence, and then there was a locked hard drive. And I was desperately hoping that Netflix would pay to hack the hard drive because the government wouldn't. And God only knows what other victims were on that hard drive. But anyway, they caught their guy, and it was only because these two women persisted, these two cops. And there's this great moment that you see dramatized in the series where they get all this data off his computer. They see this victim, and he did this thing where he would take pictures of his victims with their IDs, like with their driver's licenses, as kind of like a trophy. So they see this ID of this young girl, and they reach out to the police department in the jurisdiction, and the cop answers, and he's like, "No, no, that was just a false complaint." And they're like, "Yeah, we have a picture to show you," and they fax it over.
This show is unbelievable. Some people are asking.
Yeah.
They may have missed it in the beginning.
Unbelievable on Netflix.
On
And
Netflix.
it was an amazing team. Susanna Grant show ran, and Sarah Timberman was the producer who the person that I went to option it. She's made lots of great stuff. And then the actresses were just
Toni Collette.
Yeah, Toni Collette was amazing. Oh my God, what's wrong with my brain? The other two were
they were also fantastic.
Yeah, amazing.
Sorry, it's early. It's early days.
It's very early. And this is what happens with names. Like every time I call out to one of my children, I'm like, Sophie C. Short. Yeah, name's gone. But I'm really proud of that show. It is. I have written so many TV pilots. I have made a very nice living, supported my 4 children, paid for college, writing TV pilots. This is the only one that ever got made. But then we got nominated for an Emmy, and we got the Peabody, and it was just like, well, if that's your only show ever, I guess it's fine. I guess I'm writing another one now for Searchlight. We'll see. Cross your fingers.
Okay. Can you give us a tease about it? No. Maybe that. No.
I will say that it is in the criminal justice realm.
Okay. Good. Um, I would say that, I was captivated by that show within the first 30 seconds.
I mean, Caitlin Dever, who plays the young woman, is so compelling, and also, Lisa Cholodenko, who's the director, she's a master. So that she managed to shoot it in a way that, like, snatches you right away, but also isn't exploitative, which is huge.
Yeah. Um, you have some big fans out there for the show, I can see there. Um, it's wonderful. Um, you also have a new book coming out
I
that's sort of, I would say, sort of on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Sometimes I
Um,
think, like, what is the Venn diagram of my work? Like, okay, so there's the unbelievable, there's the nonfiction book about psychedelics, there's this new novel, which I would say is kind of like almost a Jane Austen pastiche, and then there's, like, the memoir of Zionism that I'm writing. Like, what? Co I don't know, but I guess that the Venn diagram is this very thin sliver, and I'm standing in it. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
I have a novel coming out called A Perfect Hand, which takes place in Victorian England, and, it's kind of basically what happened was I couldn't think of what to write. I don't know if this happens to you,
Yep.
but just, like, I was so not blocked because I kept writing. I would start a book, and I'd write 50 pages, and I'd be like, "Oh," and I'd start another book, and I'd write another, like, 20 pages or another 100 pages, and was I just could not find a subject, and I was beating my head against the side of my desk, and years are like, literal years are passing, and yes, I'm earning a living, I'm working in Hollywood, but, like, I kept anytime someone died at Knopf, I would be like, "Okay, one more like, there's another person who's gone, who knows that I owe this book." I just kept being afraid of, like, somebody in accounting coming across, like, my contract and be like, "What the fuck is this? This is, like, years old." So then my older daughter, who is an incredibly talented writer and is working on her first novel,
Oh,
plug
congrats.
Sophie Chabon, um, she just one day, she just lost patience with me, and she's like, "Come on, mom. You love Jane Austen. You reread most of Jane Austen every single year. Just write a marriage plot, write something set in a manor house, and do a little flip. So, like, don't make it about the lords and ladies, make it about the servants who fall in
Yes.
love." And I was just like, "What?" And as soon as I sat down to write that, so it's about a lady's maid and a valet who fall in love, and they have to convince their employers to get married so that they can be in the same house. And then it takes, like, a twist. Um, as soon as I sat down to write it, it just, like, poured out of me. I mean, it came so fast, and one of the things that's hardest in when you're writing fiction is voice. Like, you have to nail a voice, and,
Mhm.
this one was it just landed. It's this, like, omniscient narrator, it's the writer of, it's like a lady novelist, and, it's written to sound like it's written by a British Victorian woman, and, I think it works. There's always a point right before your book comes out, right after it's done, that you're like, "This book is great. Love this
But you know
book
who else
rocks."
I have to say, I haven't had the chance to read it yet, but I am, like, chomping at the bit, um, to read it. But I read some of the reviews of it, including, like, the Kirkus review that said, like, basically what you want on the back of a book, which is, um, as if, and I'm paraphrasing, but as if Jane Austen and Nora Ephron wrote a book together, or
I
if
know,
they
I've
had a
never
baby.
that's like I feel like I could just retire now. Like, that sentence, I'm like, "I'm good. That's
Right.
it. That's all I ever want to achieve in my life." Like,
And also
you just
that with
never
the cover of the book, which I don't know if you can show a picture of it, or people can go onto Penguin Random House and
I can
see
run and get a copy of it.
it. A
Here, wait,
perfect
I'm going to. Hold on,
Okay,
everybody.
she's
Fling
gonna
with me
do
for a
that.
second.
It's very pretty, and we can also take in one of her quilts, one of the first quilts she made, because along with other things that, Ayelet does, she's pretty handy person, she writes, and she does Hollywood, and she also is a fabulous quilter. She did all of that, which is kinda
I have
suits it.
no idea where the book is. I have one galley left, but look, I made a mug
Oh, what do I win? What do I win to get that?
I'll
But look
send
at
you
the
one, babe.
lady's maid with the beautiful hat.
Isn't that great? That's an actual Victorian illustration that the book jacket designer found. I love that, so great. And I
But
had fabric made with that image because yes, I quilt compulsively. I'm a compulsive quilter. This is one of my quilts. This is kind of a modern quilt that I designed and made. I have a bunch of them all over the house. But, yeah, I started quilting, so I was like, I'm gonna do, like, a quilting campaign with my book because quilting was huge in Victorian England. Um, it's actually this really interesting technical reason. Fabric became much less expensive for some we know once they started doing manufacturing.
Mhm.
So, it became sor sort of rational and feasible to cut fabric up and to make it into a quilt. And it started this sort of craze for quilting, and so much so that, manufacturers of textiles started bagging up offcuts, of scraps and sending them and you could buy, like, a bag of scraps, and you could make what they called crazy quilts, which are just all sort of random. I'm
Mhm.
gonna make one of those. So, because nobody knows how to market a book anymore, and because I really, really wanna deduct all my quilting supplies for my taxes, I'm doing this, like, series of a dozen quilts where, 10, 12 quilts where each one is sort of based on a Victorian quilt, and I'm, like, you know, sort of using bits of the book and the quilts, and then I'm gonna have all these prizes to give away. It's amazing. I have all this fabric to give away. I have the mugs. I have books. I've been inundated with the gifts from incredible textile companies that are like, "Oh, here, we'll give you a set, $100 worth of gorgeous fabric cuts. They're called fat quarters. It's a quarter yard to give away to people. So I'm going to do this whole thing where every week I give away a great prize. I do some quilting. I do some talking about the book, and it's just so much. There's this my friend Andrew Sean Greer. If you guys haven't read his novel that won the Pulitzer, Less, you must immediately read it.
Mhm.
He used to call the period right before publication as the calm before the calm. Yes. He can't say that now that he won the Pulitzer, but it's so true. So in the calm before the calm, I'm like,
Oh
I'm
my
just
god,
gonna make a
that is
bunch of
just
quilts.
that is, loosened up. So, I mean, literally, like, 6 months ago, plus 4 days, I released my cookbook, and
Yes, the calm before the calm.
like,
So sad.
it was so like, I don't think like, my husband, very nice guy, hi, he sort of reached out to me. My neighbors, lovely neighbors, they sent me, like, a little note, which I still have on the fridge. Otherwise,
I know it's very
like,
calm.
even my beloved agent was sorta like, I don't think she knew that it was that day, and I
Yeah, well, next just bake, bake, bake. That's what you get. That's how you get through. So I'm quilting my way through this period, um, and it's actually fun. It's fun. Plus,
how long
I
does it take you to do a quilt?
well, see, I'm actually pathological. Like a normal. Well, first of all, I think I have a little bit of OCD. My kids would probably be laughing hysterically at
Yeah,
the
they were like,
little
yeah.
bit part of that thing. So when I started quilting, I just started doing it for really many hours at a time. So like I can only write about maybe 3, 4 hours a day before my head turns to jello. So do my work. I am like mostly not procrastinating. Um, and then I quilt for the rest of the day. And so sometimes I quilt 12 hours. So it usually takes me about a week to make a quilt. I can whip one out in a couple of days if it's not particularly complex. This one took me a week because it's like all very designed and it looks very hodgepodge. It's sort of meant to look kind of random, but it's like mathematically really complicated because all that random shit has to fit together. But it's one of the things I love about this. I was never a math person. And in fact, like, I can barely subtract,
Yeah.
but this has forced me really to think hard about math, and I've made lots of hilarious mistakes that if you could
Okay,
actually
'cause
do.
this sounded like bragging to me, and I'm a little
No, I mean, it is really, really funny how, like, I'll just be sitting there, and sometimes I'll be like, "Siri, what's 6 plus 18? Siri, what's" I'm literally asking my fucking phone to do simple addition for me, but it is like it's good to, use part of your brain you've never used before.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mostly don't keep them. Like I kept this one because it was the first one I designed myself. My husband helped me design it. I keep some of them, but I've made probably, I don't know, 80, 90 quilts in the past couple of years. I just started quilting, about 2.5 years ago, but I give them all away, all of them. So I'm always, I'll put you on the list. I'm always looking for and
Oh,
I just as soon as they're out of my house, I don't even care about them. Like, I'm like, "Here, it's yours. Do what you want. Does the dog wanna pee on it? That's fine, but I just yours, it belongs to you." I had one quilt I sent to a friend that got, burned up in the LA fires.
oh,
Quickly sent her another one.
oh,
Yeah.
good.
I
Uh,
made her a really, really complicated one for the second time 'cause, I thought maybe that would be, like, superstition. Maybe if I made, like, the world's most complicated quilt, she wouldn't lose another house to a fire.
yeah, I think that's a good. I don't know how that magic works, but I believe in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, were you a sewer beforehand?
I made one thing before I started quilting. In 6th grade? No, in 7th grade, we had home ec. That's how
Yeah,
long ago this was, and all the girls were in home ec, and all the boys were in, like, I
shop.
don't know what, wood shop? I
Yeah,
don't
wood
remember,
shop.
although now that I think about it, I did do wood shop too, and I made an earring holder. But anyway, was in home ec,
Oh, that's good.
and you had to make a wraparound skirt. So I made the world's most poorly constructed and ugliest wraparound skirt, and that was the only thing I sewed. Michael sewed all my buttons on from the time we met. I either stapled my hems or took them to be, that's actually super easy.
Staple.
I
I use
yeah,
tape, but
yeah,
stapling is
now
so
they have,
more
like, nice
effective.
double-sided tape that you can get, or I took them like, I spent more money on hemming. I'm 5 feet tall. My hemming bills over the course of my life, very high. Um, but, quilting for the most of quilting is a straight line. Now I can do all these curves and things, but, like, it turns out just it wasn't that hard to learn. It's it is as hard as you want it to be.
Yeah,
Basic quilting can be super simple, and the real magic is that almost everything quilts out. Like, as soon as you're done and you throw it in the washing machine, what I love about quilts is they get kind of crinkly.
yeah.
So you go from washer to dryer and then nobody sees your mistakes. Nobody sees your mistakes. And, like,
Mm.
my rule is when I'm deciding whether to rip something out with a seam ripper, is if you can see it from closer than 6 feet, 3 feet even, I might rip it out, but no, otherwise, nobody's gonna notice. They just notice if it's cozy
Beautiful.
and they can cuddle under it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone asked if, you do your own quilting of the constructed quilt or send them out.
I do both. So most what when I first started, I was sending them out, but that it could be like a couple $100 to send out a quilt to do the sort of, the like, put the quilt top and the
Yeah.
back and the batting together. Um, and that quickly became untenable. So I do mostly my own. I don't do, crazy patterns. I've tried really hard to learn how to do what they call free motion quilting, which is like all the swirls and shapes and flowers, but I have really shitty handwriting, like I always have, and I think that's why it's hard for me to do that because, like, it turns out the not being able to handwrite is also the not being able to move the quilt around to make those pretty shapes. So, I do mostly straight lines. I'll do, like, you know, straight lines or wavy lines, or I'll use one of the stitches on my machine. I do have a ridiculous sewing machine. I have a very expensive, although I will say I bargained down so hard. I bargained down so hard that my sewing machine guy was like, "If you ever tell someone how much you paid for this, I will never let you back in this shop." Like, I know, I did my ancestors proud. Um, but like, if you see my machine, you're just gonna be like, "What is that insanity?" But it's like an airplane, I could, I would say, like, if my house was on fire, I would grab my sewing machine and shout over my shoulder to my husband and kids to get out of the house.
Right, right.
That
Well, it's good you have your priorities straight.
they're very, like,
They're very
I
straight
know.
because
I know
you
what's
can't get a
important in
bargain
this
like that
life.
again. The guy told you
No.
can't get a bargain like that
No,
again.
and never again.
Yeah. And it doesn't have legs and it can't walk. They do. Anyway,
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
you, you work a lot with fabric, but the thing about your book is, first of all, eh, your lady's maid in the book handles all the sewing in the book,
Right.
like
It was
adding
a really,
details.
like, complex job, it turns out, once I started researching, and there's all these great, like, old books, like, I have one
Yes.
book that's, like, instructions for a lady's maid, and periodically on Instagram, I'll read some of these instructions, they're very specific and hilarious, like, they're about, like, one of the ones I read recently was don't express opinions to people who aren't interested. I'm like, "Life lesson, lady. Good jo very important." Um, but yeah, they did everything and things that you don't even think of, like, they had to deal with all of the effluvia of their employers, and there's a lot of human body excretions that they had to deal with and clean, and for the clothes and the hair, and they had to make their own, like, every lady's maid made her own potions and powders and
Really?
emollients and all this stuff. Yeah, it's
And
really it's interesting. Sometimes, I mean, it was getting dressed was more complicated back then. Doing
mm,
laundry was more complicated. Like doing all that stuff. Although, sometimes I'll like be scrolling on Instagram Reels or TikTok and I'll see some girl doing a 40 product facial routine. I think, well,
like,
maybe it's still complicated. But
it's as complicated as you make it.
yeah. But it was fun. Like all the below stairs research for this book was so much fun to do. I mean, those are the parts I love the most, like in Downton Abbey and upstairs, downstairs. I've
The
always loved
best.
like and when I go to those sort of house tours, like if you go to the Breakers in Newport or whatever, I'm
Mhm.
always obsessed. I always take like the kitchen tour. I
Of
want to see
course.
like the old kitchen. I want to see the bathrooms, like where do they do the laundry and stuff.
Yeah, those are my favorite part. I think that, like, the rich people are sort of boring, and the
Yeah, but
people
their
below s
kitchen
right, but their
and their
kitchens.
kitchens.
Uh,
Have you ever been to Hearst Castle, by Big Sur? Oh
no.
my god. Go to Hearst Castle and take the kitchen tour. You, of all people, you will go nuts for it. You will come home, take your whole kitchen out, and rebuild it to match the Hearst Castle kitchen. It's so amazing.
I mean, I have a nice kitchen island here. I'm
I love
pointing
it.
at
I
it.
also love your blue tile. It's great. That
Thank you.
kind of sea foamy blue-green tile.
This is my,
Lovely.
husband's, suggestion. Oh, is that a copy of my book? Yeah.
Oh!
I'm supposed to be very, very, like, am supposed to be pushing this book all the time and be in people's face about it, and I guess to, like, the chagrin, as your lady's maid would have said, the chagrin of people, I think it's an odd thing to ask people who write.
Yeah. Self-promotion is so difficult and
I
icky and cringy and like, I always see, like, writers, some of whom are my dear friends, who are never on social media, who suddenly pop up and they're like, "Hi!" And you're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you have to do this." And I don't know, like, I used to be on TikTok. I had a pretty large following on TikTok. I had, like, 50,000 or 60,000 followers, and I would always say to my publisher, "Don't get excited. With every post, I unsell a book." Like, there's no one who wants to so, I try to keep my Instagram feed somewhat less, uh, repellent, but, my son's incredible girlfriend, and I hope she's not listening, hopefully my new daughter-in-law someday, is helping with my social media, and she very delicately said to me, "So I'm looking at your metrics, and I find that when you post political stuff, you tend to lose a lot of followers." So, and I was like, "Oh, do I? Do I?"
There's a big surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a shock.
having, a baking podcast and, baking and politics podcast has lost me a lot. It has gained me some people.
Yeah,
A lot of nice all like, I have a really nice "Hi, guys," really nice group of people, and we all sort of get each other,
right.
but I have had people who have sent me some nasty
Yeah.
thoughts, and, I just
What's
don't.
the worst you've gotten? Can you share what's the most horrible message you've ever gotten?
It's not horrible, but it's the stay in your lane sort of
Yeah.
thing. And I'm like,
Shut up. Nobody wants to hear from you.
exactly. And I'm like, well, actually, I'm reasonably sentient human being living
Yeah.
in this world that is falling apart around us, and I have a responsibility as a citizen to,
I kind of like those messages that I would see on sewing, that I'm sure it's the same as baking, which is like when you would say, people would say, quilting is political because if ice kills you, you can't quilt or something, some version of that. So it's like baking is political because if you're in ICE custody, you can't bake. Or if if you get shot in the head by
right.
masked government agents, you can't get your cookies out of the oven in time.
Right. Or if, because I also teach journalism, and like that whole First Amendment thing's sort of important to me,
Mm, yeah,
and so I can't defend the First Amendment if I can't speak out loud.
right, exactly.
Right. Um, so yeah, I once, oh, there, Kate McDermott said, I was once called a
Swamp
swamp
dweller.
dweller by an
Yeah.
unsubscriber. That's a nice way of putting it. Yeah, Joyce Vance is pretty awesome. Yeah, Julia Child was a spy. I like you people. I knew I liked you
Oh,
people. Um,
I didn't
speaking
see
of,
that in the movie.
oh, really? I
Was it
think
in the
they all sort of
movie?
hinted at there. She
They
was.
hinted? I
Oh
gotta
yeah.
do a rewatch. Next after my 27th watch of Heated Rivalry, I'll like go and do a rewatch of the Julia and Julia movie. But I have a lot of Heated Rivalry to watch between then.
Yeah, I
I
have.
think I'm scared just for is there anyone in the comments who is obsessed with this as I am? Like anyone? Am I the only person? Oh, nobody. Nobody.
No,
There are
there are some hearts. I saw some
200.
hearts.
Are there? So I was gonna say there are 288 people, and I'm the only one watching and rewatching this TV show. Just so you know, it is not only me. This is taking the culture by
No,
storm.
no, it is, everybody is watching it. I'm watching it. I haven't finished it, but that's only
I
because
am
I've been
watching it because
distracted.
my very fancy journalist friend, Parisian journalist friend, thank you, Violet, Monique Al-Faizi, very fancy lady, um, it became obsessed with it. My daughter had been watching it since it was on in Canada and had been trying to get me to watch it. And I was just like, I don't want to watch softcore porn
Right.
and I don't care about hockey. Listen, I am from Montreal. I
Yeah.
have 4 brothers. I don't fucking care about
I don't want to
hockey.
hear about hockey
Like,
again.
enough.
Right.
Um, but, uh, then I agreed to watch it, and I was just sewing one day, and there's fucking have you guys noticed there's nothing on? There's literally nothing on. Once you're done with the pit, there's nothing on.
That's
Oh,
true.
and that new Game of
Oh,
Thrones, I like that too.
oh
But
wait, no,
anyway,
but oh yeah, but I
oh,
did
but
start we
what?
watched Brockheimer. If you haven't watched
Oh, is it
Brockheimer.
good?
Oh, it's old. It's an older show. I mean, like a couple
I'm
years
down
older,
for old.
with Hank Azaria in it, and it is
Alright,
like
good.
brilliant. It deals with
Alright, I'll
topics of
watch it then. That sounds
addiction
great.
and alcoholism, but it all and sex addiction, but it's also does it in a really funny way, she
Does
said.
it have an incredibly gorgeous guy with a Russian accent,
Mm.
with the most gorgeous ass on earth turning towards the camera and saying "I love you" in Russian while tears stream down his face? Because if it doesn't have that, I'm not quite sure I'm up for it at this moment in my
Uh,
emotional journey.
it might be you might find it a bit jarring because mostly he
Okay.
speaks in his, like, Southern Missouri accent
Okay,
and,
alright.
gets
Alright.
pumped up on coke and sort of turns around and, well, whatever. Anyway, it's a good show, though. I'm not really selling it well.
Okay, I'll check it. I'll check it out. I'll check it
My
out.
daughter
You know,
adores
I
Heated
do
Rivalry, so I have to finish it before she comes home.
Um, just a suggestion. Episode 5 is the most incredible hour of TV I've ever seen. So, and
I
it's so funny because I'm such a snob. Like, I'm such a snob. I'm a snob about literature. I'm a snob about media. And I'm just like, nothing is left. No, but this I am in the mainstream 100,000%. But I grew up with like you with these like intellectual Jewish parents and, looking down their nose on everything that was of particularly my father, like I said, um, my I mean, both my parents, lived in Canada, but my dad's from Montreal. My mom moved there when she was a kid. So everything American was just like, ugh, American culture. Bleh. So maybe that's partly why I'm like, I have a little bit of lingering Canadian. And it is a coincidence that I'm getting my Canadian citizenship documents while Heated Rivalry is. It is not, although it is entirely possible that I perhaps put the gas down on that passport, although I think that probably has a little more to do with Donald Trump than with, Shane and Ilya. But anyway.
My father may have
My
been.
husband's in the kitchen. He's like, I knew it. I knew she would turn this whole conversation with one of her most favorite people when it should be talking about baking and books, and she managed to turn it into a conversation about heated rivalries. He just said it's better than Buchenwald, which my novel Love and Treasure takes place against the backdrop of the Holocaust, although it's not like set in any concentration camps, very much on purpose. And when I was doing the research and writing that book, um, at some point we came home from a dinner party and he was like, not every gathering needs to be a discussion of Theresienstadt. And I was like,
I
but
don't know. Doesn't
doesn't
it?
it though?
But I like, there's something about the alliteration that just seems like a great, promotion for a book. Better than Buchenwald.
Better than there's
I
this
guess I'm
great
going
story.
straight to, am I going straight
Michael,
to hell now?
wait, Michael, who is the one who's the good joke that when we're getting the photograph taken? What writer was that? Yeah, who was it? Okay, Howard Chaykin, comic book artist. My husband is there. He's at Comic Con with Howard Chaykin, and they're standing side by side, and a fan asks to take their picture. My husband's name is Michael Chabon. He's a writer. You probably haven't heard of him. And
He's listening.
he
Congrats on the
so
opera, by the way. It's great.
yeah, that's cool. Marissa says, "Congrats on the opera, sweetie." So they put their arms around each other, typical photography stand. Fan takes the picture, and Chaykin says, "Don't think about Auschwitz." Just as the guy snapped the photo, and they both burst out laughing, and I'm like, "What? Only Jews, right? Like we are the only ones who like us, and maybe Nick Fuentes laugh at that joke. I don't think normal non-Jews would laugh at that joke, but like it kind of became a little bit of a thing in our family at picture time. And I just, all of my kids are in relationships with non-Jews, and I'm like, what do those adorable Shagitses and Shickses whom I love so much think when someone in our family is like, don't think about Auschwitz?
And my grandfather's family literally lived in Auschwitz, in the
In the
town.
town of Auschwitz?
Yeah, maybe like briefly, sort of on the outskirts, but still, they were considered
Wow.
residents. Anyway, so
Yeah. Where? What?
thanks everybody out there for sticking with us through this conversation.
Through the Buchenwald portion of the event.
So cookies. I like cookies.
Okay, yes, you have to solve my problem.
Okay, so here's like, you want to give people a little bit background on the problem.
Okay, so the problem is this. Let me start a number of years ago. My kids, like I said, all their partners are non-Jewish, and during COVID, the two of the kids who lived on the West Coast couldn't get back east to celebrate Christmas with their families. And we never celebrated Christmas. We're Jews. We do Hanukkah. It's a pathetic version of some sad. It's like I heard this one joke on Blackish where they said Hanukkah is the Father's Day is the Hanukkah of Mother's Day. There it is, right? So but then I decided I had to do Christmas for these poor kids who weren't going to be home, and it was COVID and everything was so terrible. So nobody does Christmas like a Yiddish mama does Christmas. I mean, I did the whole thing.
I have to say, nobody does Christmas like a German Jew, and that's what my mother's side of the family is. They had a giant Christmas tree.
Yeah, we brought in a huge Christmas tree. My friend Miley Malloy, also an amazing writer, said, "Ayelet, you have more ornaments in this first year than I have collected in my entire life." I put those candles in every window. I had wreaths. I ordered a ham from Virginia that I had to soak in my bathtub.
I've done that.
Days
I have
on
a pot
end.
still this big from that ham.
That is just so good in my tongue. I did with the clovers. I did Yorkshire puddings. I did, I mean, the whole thing. I did I had stockings with everybody's
Of course.
name on them. I had, the Yankee swap, like you name it, we did it. And of course, I made Christmas cookies. And the first year, all of my recipes were Marissa's. I just, she did the cookie roundup. I just made them all. I added one thing, which was I had a boyfriend who is Syrian Jewish, and his mom made these Syrian cookies called ma'amul, which are
Yeah.
date filled. I added that. That's the only thing I added. Um,
Oh.
and they all came out amazingly well. All the cookies came out perfect. It was incredible. And then every year since I have made them, and every year since they have gotten worse. I don't understand. And here's the problem. They are spreading. They're spreading. The first time I made them, my favorite are your brown sugar cookies, which are the greatest cookie known to the human race. Oh, you guys, those are perfect.
And I have to say, it's not my recipe. It is a
Whose
recipe
is it?
from Richard Sachs. I amended it, but this is originally from him. That's why I have the book here. Richard Sachs, a cookbook author and cookbook and food writer who died way too young. But if you can find this book anywhere, you will be happy, as long as you have my recipes too. But no, this it's originally from here, and it's one of those recipes that I have to make all the time. I
I mean, the
love
thing
it.
about it is I hate sugar cookies. I think they're terrible.
Me too. I
And
don't like sugar cookies either.
these are magic. I don't know
Because
what
they
it
get
is.
sort of caramelly. Look
Yes.
at the back, you get this nice
So
sort of
why am I
caramelization.
spreading? I've tried everything. I've tried the most expensive butter. I tried the cheapest butter. I make sure it's like my dough is so cold. It's like I stick it in the fridge before, like I never have the dough out for a second. I only roll out little pieces. After I cut it out, I put it in the fridge to chill. I mean, I've done why have they ever, there was that first magical year, and every year since they've been spreading, spreading, spreading.
So they've
And I
had
can't get a nice shape. Like, I cut them out, and they're
yeah.
all cute, and then they just go,
Have they been through menopause? Because that can
"Oh,
cause
bless
spreading
you."
and
Oh my
shapish
god. Shapelessness.
and spreading.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Well, that's it. And actually, you wanna know the truth? I think it was just right about then. Right about then.
exactly. You know that like they used to say like women who are having their periods shouldn't cook or be in the house, you were supposed to be in the red tent. You
Right, because you would spread your toxic evil.
whatever that witchy stuff is, you women, you. Um, I have made, and I don't have my extra camera, so I'm going to do something that's going to make people at home nauseated because I'm going to try and yeah, I'm gonna
Flip it down. It's
I'm gonna
okay.
flip it down, people. I'm gonna flip it down. Are you ready? Are you ready? Hold on.
Oh
Okay,
god, I'm
so
so
and I'm gonna do a
hungry.
little,
But look how perfect those hearts are. They held completely. What is the difference
and
between what you're doing?
I used Kerrygold, but you can't read because it's
Uh,
backwards, and I used Plus Gras, and I used regular old
and
ShopRite
those are the
butter.
best. ShopRite came out the best, right?
ShopRite look really good. They spread a little bit. I would say that Kerrygold wins for flavor.
Yeah, I mean I started just saying like, okay, people, we're just gonna eat them because they're so delicious. We're not gonna worry about what they look like.
So, um, who
Did
says
you
that?
just make me a chai? You guys,
Wait,
this
I'd
is
like a chai. Oh.
my darling husband just
Oh.
made me. There's this chai company called, what's it called? Kolkata Chai. It's like mail order and it's delicious, but I don't know why when Michael makes it for me, it tastes 100 times better.
Because if you're sick and someone brings you a, a warm drink versus you getting up and getting the warm drink, which is going to heal you faster? Someone bringing
Totally.
it to you.
Yeah.
Totally the truth.
My
Um,
husband makes my tea every morning because actually wrote about, I just started my Substack.
yeah.
This is how Marissa and I started to do this. And I wrote about this thing. I have this friend. She's sort of the child of hippies. She's like spent her childhood going to Esalen, but now she's just a very like put together, amazing
Wow.
DC person,
Mhm.
museum. Uh, she's like worked for the Smithsonian for a long time, and she once said to me, "Make a list of the things you love to do that make you happy. Things that like just big or small, things that make you happy." And I was like, I don't want to do that. That's like writing down your gratitudes. And she's like, yeah, you should do that too, but just trust me. So I made this list of things that made me happy. And I try to when I reread the list and try to do some things on the list, I get happy because they make me happy. And one of those things was me having drinking tea in bed as part of my like Jane Austen fetish.
Yes.
I like to have tea in bed in the morning. And ever since I wrote that list, Michael's been making any morning that he wakes up before I do, he makes me tea in bed. Isn't that incredible?
That is really, really incredible and really, really sweet. And it reminds me of
So
my
sweet.
mother, my father, who was not really a doter, I don't think. You correct me if I'm wrong, Paul. But he would bring my mother coffee in bed. And in the olden days, it'd be coffee and a cigarette, but now,
Yes. That's so sweet. Coffee and a cigarette every morning in bed to just wake up. Are your parents still with you?
I
They
mean,
both died.
they're with me, but
Yeah,
they're not with me, if you know what
yeah.
I mean. I think you all know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, are yours?
My dad died at 96 during COVID, but not of COVID. And my mom is, yeah, she's 86 years old. She lives in DC. She lives in actually in Maryland near my brother. She's doing great. She seems, she's didn't get around that well, but she still reads the New York Times she reads the paper, New York Times cover to cover every day. She is, I believe, the only person who continues to get the paper New York Times.
Hmm.
I think the entire printing establishment exists to deliver my mother her printed newspaper.
I really believe that when my father died, that would end because he read it cover to cover. He would spend three
Yeah, that
hours in
that
the
was the
morning.
end of the New York Times.
That was the end of
But
the
maybe there's,
print. I mean,
yeah,
my
maybe,
block is filled with people who work for the New York Times. It's just the way it is, right? We're that close to New York City. It's just the New York Times like family town, and no one gets it delivered here, right?
I think, remember, I feel like the people who are happiest about the demise of print media are the people who created the dog poop bag because it was
Totally.
the blue New York Times bag and that's what you put your dog's poop in and then they had to like have a business to create something that had already been in existence.
Why were we ahead of the game on that one? Anyway,
I don't
um,
know.
so
I just cracked my husband up. Thank you for laughing, honey.
we really missed an opportunity. We got to get ahead of these things. Uh,
That and like I had a whole idea to make like a actually I take this back. I think my husband had this idea, but I just will adopt it
just
anyway
take it.
as
He's
my
not
own.
listening.
Fancy donuts. I was like, he said, actually not me. He said, I swear I remember that it was me. He said you know what the next big thing is going to be like gourmet donuts. We should start a gourmet donut thing. And I was like, yeah, we should. And then Krispy Kreme happened, and we were like, ugh, late to the
Uh,
party again.
damn you. Oh well.
Mm.
The next big thing, maybe. You guys, Uh,
It was like when I wrote a book called Bad Mother, and everybody said I was the worst person in the world, and now everybody's a bad mother, and I was just too early. Just too early.
there's a whole website that's called like Bad Mother or whatever.
I know. I
Whatever.
was
I'm
just too
sorry.
early. I know.
You really led the trend in Bad Mother? No.
Yeah. My daughter once she took one of the book jackets. So this book was called Bad Mother. It was like a collection of essays about motherhood and sort of my feelings of self-loathing and how they and also it was like it was funny but it was also sad, blah blah blah. Anyway, I have one daughter who's a lot like me and like cynical and snarky, and one daughter who's just like she's very, very funny, but she's been the sweetest thing since the moment she was born. Like literally as soon as she could talk, she would say things like, "Today is the best day of my life," every morning. Um, and one day I came upon her and she'd taken the book jacket off one of my books and had laboriously changed the bad to good. Isn't that sweet? And so different from her older sister, who once told me that she was going to write a whole expose of me and it was going to be called Baddest Mother. Yeah, but they're
So
both wonderful in their own way. And now they're
exactly.
adults. And the oldest one is married.
But you can still make them cookies.
I
So
do every year.
people, and
So, oh, what?
Carol is
Fucking tell
reminding
me,
us.
you haven't solved my cookie problem. I literally have been talking to you for an hour. The only reason was so that you would solve this problem, and I just keep
No,
distracting you.
I did want to talk
Solve
about your book.
my
I did want
problem.
to talk about your book, and I also wanted to mention the 10 ways to keep yourself happy, because I think people need that. But I'm looking at my cookies. I'm going to tell you that the Kerrygold ones held their shape the best.
They did.
Um, yeah,
But then
and
why when I make with Kerrygold doesn't it?
well, someone mentioned it in here. I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, but someone said, "Is your oven too hot?" And my question, so we need to go through a checklist of
Okay.
things.
I
And
did buy a little, like, thing for my oven. I hate my oven. By the way, if you guys are shopping for an oven, do not buy a Blue Star. Do not get
do not buy a
seduced.
Blue Star.
Do not
Do
get
not buy.
seduced by the pretty colors. Do not get seduced by this, like, fake, "Oh, this is commercial," but it's terrible. It's terrible oven. And
It's a
I
terrible oven. I had one. I redid my kitchen. I got rid of it. I
You
had one of
got
the
rid of it?
early ones. They're from Reading, Pennsylvania, which is like just down the end of Route
Ugh, why
78
are
over
they so
here.
bad?
The
So do you
guy
think it's
came.
that it's too hot? Do you think I should just lower the temp? I mean, I do have a thing in it, but I can never figure out, like,
You
I'm
have,
always
yes,
I have you have
Anna Mendez says it. Because
you need an electric
baking an
oven.
electric oven, I had a terrible time cooking in my Blue Star oven because the heat goes on and off. So it's not as easily, it goes up and down. It's not as regulated. The reason
Oh,
people say to
wow.
you, when we say in cooking, we're like, heat the oven to 350, don't put it in before it's 350, is because at 350, if your oven is working correctly, it should be a steady heat. Before that, while it's getting to temperature, it can be low and then high and then low and then high. And you can try it.
Wow.
You can try it out by like sticking a bunch of cookies that you don't care about in an oven before it's preheated, and they will burn faster than you know. I also want
So
to point
that
out that
must be must be cycling on and off.
I did burn cookies. Yeah, it is
What do you
cycling
do with
on.
them when you burn them? Do you just put them in your compost?
Mark, did you like the burnt ones? Yeah, he ate the
Michael
burnt
eats
ones.
everything burnt too.
It's
That's
not.
his he
It's
likes
really
it's a
nice.
good thing to have in a partner that they'll eat your burnt cookies.
Exactly. Um,
Okay, so but where would I put I do in our we have a house in Maine and I do have an electric oven there. I didn't design this kitchen, it just we bought the house and there's a stove which I replaced with a Blue Star because I'm fucking crazy. And now I have two Blue Star stoves that I hate. And but I do have an electric oven there and I have never made Christmas cookies there, but I'm going to now and I bet it'll be better. But what do I do now? What do I do now that I have this expensive stove that like the what do
Sell
I
it on
do?
Craigslist. Sell it on Craigslist.
Okay, sell it on Craigslist to someone who hasn't heard us cursing the company.
This is
I noticed that you have a gas range. So like, do you are you not on the
gas,
whole like
gas, and electric.
oh
Gas.
by the way, that oh it's a gas range and an electric oven?
Uh-huh.
Oh
And
wow.
a good toaster oven. Like try baking off a few in a toaster oven. Being careful with the heat because it's a smaller space, right?
Oh, maybe
Never
I get
bake.
one of those things that people have, like I've seen, like they look like big toaster ovens
Yeah.
that or sit on their
Like a
uh,
Breville. A Breville would be a good thing to
Breville.
buy.
And then I could just take that out at Christmas time if I wanted to, or when I was making cookies.
No, I
That is
think you
an
should get a
interesting
new
thought.
stove.
But wait, why don't I have fabric to buy. Why don't you have an induction cooktop?
Because I was obsessed when I got this kitchen that I wanted a Wolf stove, and that was just in my craw.
Mhm.
So, but if I were to do it again, I would have an induction stove because,
Interesting. So if
um,
I'm gonna do it, I might as well just do that, right? Buy
induction
an
stove
induction
with an
stove
electric oven.
with
And
an
the
electric
other
oven.
thing in the meantime is I would make sure that you got a very good thermometer that you put in your oven.
But then
Um,
what am I gonna do if it's just like wonky back and forth? Like all it's gonna do is tell me it's just gonna issue a message saying, "This is terrible. Stop trying."
ThermoWorks will has one that I think will chart it for you. There are
But
things
then
like
what do
that.
I do? Like, what's my solution if it's going up and down and up and down and up and down, other than raging against the machine? Yeah.
We're gonna write a joint Substack about Blue Star called Raging Against the Machine.
Oh my god, that's a great idea. What's like the anti corporate sponsorship? We don't do any corporate sponsorship. All we
Exactly.
talk about is shit I hate. We hate it.
You know how much people would like that? Guys, would you like that? I mean, if we also offered you some positive thoughts. Um,
No, no positive thoughts. Just like bad reviews. Just
I
bad
will
reviews.
I wanna tell you my one great, moment with Blue Star. They had to come numerous times to my house to come fix the stove, and I would be like, "Guys, like, at the time, I think I was writing for Newsweek, reviewing kitchen gadgets." So I'd be like, "Guys, I'm reviewing kitchen gadgets. You wanna" so they would show up at my house. I pulled the little rank, you know what I mean? But they'd show up and
I
the
have
guy was
paid so much money to appliance repair people.
they
And they
said to
all
me
say like, "Ugh, this is a terrible stove." So what'd they say to you?
they said to me, "Oh, the thing that the igniter, burnt out. You must be using your stove too much. I mean, it must be using your oven too much." I was like,
It's
"Amen."
literally its only fucking job. Like,
You
it's not a
had
vacuum
one
cleaner.
job.
Oh my god. At this point, anytime we cook anything, all we hear is clicks. Because like, we replaced the fucking igniter so many times that we just don't even bother. So it's just like
Yeah.
anytime, and our kids will come down like, "What is that sound?" I'm like, "I don't even hear it anymore." It's just clicking. Every burner clicks. Every burner fucking clicks. Half the time, I'll put in, like, a huge Momofuku bosom, and I'll be like, "Wait, what's going on with is it broken again? Oh, yes, it's broken."
Shelley warned
But
you that
it's
the
a
door could stick.
very nice bright red. It's a
It's
lovely red.
so beautiful, so beautiful. Yeah. Um, I even bought one before they had pretty colors. So I was that early on, and they apparently have gotten better
I have
since then.
Yeah, I have a teal blue one in my kitchen in Maine. I'm just such a sucker. I can't, but I don't blame myself. I have a friend named Ben Marcus. He's a novelist, and he was the one who's like, "Oh no, this is really good. This is a great oven. This is like primo for like chefs and like very
Yeah.
special
It's like you're
industrial."
yeah, it's
I just fell
industrial, it's
for it.
chefs,
I
and
wish
you're
I
supporting a small industry and blah, blah, yeah.
I wish I had a fucking Kenmore or whatever. Like, what is the Sears brand oven? That would
Yep.
probably be fine. The
G
electric stove that it was in my house growing up, where all the electric burners were on an angle because they were
Mm,
broken, so all of your, like, pans would angle out. I wish I had that. That would be better.
yep. Sorry, but it's probably true. Okay, so I think after you and I have had this conversation back and forth for a while, and I think we have solved it. I think
Yeah, it's my
knowing the
fucking
type
oven.
it's your
And
fucking
that
oven.
makes sense too because that like, the way that it changed so dramatically makes sense because the oven just got worse, which it does not surprise me.
No.
Alright.
All
Well,
right.
Christmas is coming, and I just have to decide if I am too cheap to replace my oven.
I don't know, you have a new book coming out, you maybe deserve a little present.
Calm before the calm, girl. Okay, they're 320. If all of you please go pre-order a perfect pan, maybe I will feel like I have enough cash on hand to replace my oven. I'll tell you what, I just offer like, if you can, please go fund me to replace my oven. So I'd have to buy too much fabric. I don't have the resources to buy. I will. My daughter's going to law school. That's a huge expense. My amazing, gorgeous, phenomenal younger daughter is like making my Jewish mother's heart very proud. So,
That is
maybe like I don't know. Maybe if I wait till she graduates, she'll buy me an oven.
yeah,
Anyway,
that's
okay, I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna think about it. I'll see where can I claw back?
Shelley asked, "Do you weigh ingredients?" And you and I have
Oh,
been through it.
only,
Right. So
only.
I have been through, and this is, if you wanna have me over for anybody out there wanting to have me, I'm starting baking classes in April via Zoom if anybody wants to join. But the things that we're gonna go over, and I can, and it's also like if I do a book talk or whatever, people are always like, "What do I have to know about baking cookies?" And there are a few basics that one is to read the recipe and use a good recipe, but also, butter temperature matters. I think people know that. Um, but baking pans matter. So
Oh,
here is a really nice rimmed pan, Nordic ware. I bought it at
those are
Costco.
the ones I have too.
And notice the color of it. I mean, okay, there's a little spot here, but it is silver. Um, s- the ones that I have that have turned black with age, I use only for roasting vegetables or roasting meat. I
Oh, interesting. Because
because
absorbs the heat too much?
exactly. And so if
Mm.
you have that, then your cookies are going to burn quickly. The other
Interesting.
thing is, and this is to your point, your poor Blue Star. I'm so sorry. I wish I'd known earlier. Is make sure you know how your oven works. Some run hot, some run cold. Feel free to adjust the temperature, like 25 degrees down, 25 degrees up, if that works for you. So you have to like tweak things. And the other thing, as someone asked, is, and I'm moving back here to my big drawer, wiping it off on my sweater. No,
Oh my god, I have the same scale!
it's an
Oh, that
Estale,
makes me so happy.
cheap and I mean reasonably priced. It's like not that much money, and the batteries last forever, and it's great. Measure your ingredients. If there's one reason to measure ingredients is the obvious one, which it makes sure that everything is consistent over time. The other reason is it's so much faster and
So
easier. You're just like dumping and scooping instead of like get the scoop, scratch the dang, and it's so much. And also weighing things like peanut butter, like so much easier. Like if you're making peanut
mhm.
butter cookies, you're just like slapping it on there.
Yeah,
Um,
that when I learned that from you and I was like, "Well, this is life-changing."
yeah,
And then there's also the button okay, I know, everyone knows this.
the tear
I it
button.
was the tear button, yes. To
I knew
explain
you
what
were
that
gonna
is,
talk about
because
the
it's
tear
like,
button.
it's genius.
The best thing that you guys learned probably in chemistry was about the tear button, right? Where you can put your bowl on here and then press tear and then just start measuring away.
Yeah, it zeroes it out. So
Yep.
that, like so I'll add all my flour and then I'll zero it out again and add the next ingredient, and then you never have to even you don't have to do any math.
No. And like Barbie says, math is hard.
It's hard.
um, I love talking to you, and I could talk
Oh, this was so
all
much fun.
day long. And I think everyone out there should know the nice thing, because I have to say it all the time, that you did for me way back during COVID, which was you found out I had COVID and then found DoorDash and sent me the things that I needed so that I would be able to taste things, because the Paxlovid or whatever that
Makes your
disgusting
mouth
stuff was
so bitter and gross.
so disgusting. And you sent me, among other things, Mentos.
Yeah.
And they were fabulous. And like, it was just such a nice thing. So if you know anybody who needs things, just remember DoorDash is a great way to send gifts across the miles instantly. It was amazing. Oh, and juices. The best
Yeah.
juices. That
Well,
was so
getting
good.
through that Paxlovid, ugh,
Ugh.
yeah.
Blech. Okay, so we have learned today about Kerrygold. We all know about Kerrygold. There's something I want to point out about Kerrygold before we leave. And that's something a lot of people are talking about Kerrygold having changed, seemingly. And I've noticed that Kerrygold seems softer. And of course, good butter changes throughout the year
Mhm.
because cows eating different stuff. They say theirs are grass fed. They say it's 90% grass fed. Um, because it stays moist in Ireland and everything's green, uh, to be sure. Um, but have you ever read the ingredients? What would you think of the ingredients in Kerrygold butter?
Milk.
And the luck of the Irish, right? But it's not. It's milk. It's pasteurized cream, and then skimmed milk and cultures. And
They add
so,
skimmed milk back to the cream?
well, I think the cultures, instead of actually culturing the cream, which is the traditional oldie worldy way to make it, where you sit there, you make the cream sit overnight, it ferments a little, and then you get that really nice traditional, a little barny sort of nice butter. They're, I think they're working to make it in their favor. I will say they're trying to make the flavor uniform across the year. See ya. Um,
Interesting.
and so
But so then it's just all that much more processed.
well, I think it's kind of not fair in the sense that the things they're adding are
Aren't yeah.
they're fermented. Like, so this
My husband's driving my son to the airport, and they just set the alarm off. Don't leave the house.
They know they're leaving. Anyway, skimmed milk and cultures, they use them together to create a
So do you think
fermented.
they didn't do that before? I think that's a change in the way they
That's
make it.
I want to go a little deep. I want to do a deeper dive on this. So we'll see. Plus gras also, and this is what the thing that sort of threw me is plus gras, fancy, right? 82% butter fat, also 82% butter fat, 80% butter fat, which is why you taste a difference and you see a difference in your baked goods, and why if you're making shortbread, you should always use Kerrygold probably for the best taste. Their ingredients are cream and natural flavors. And it turns out that the natural flavors are one of them is diacetyl, which is, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but forgive me. And it's part of the natural fermentation that's one of the chemicals natural chemicals, like water is a natural chemical, that's added to give it a consistent flavor over time.
Right. I don't want to be maha about this, so I'm not going to have my gut reaction, but I do live in Berkeley, so it's really okay. What about what do the French do? Because we've been spending a couple months a year in Paris.
Well, I spent many months of the year in New Jersey.
Yes, New Jersey, Paris, same. And of course, there's just the sort of joy of butter, and it just butter will, first of all, everybody in France, when you butter a piece of bread, you're putting like a 2.5-inch thick slab of butter on your bread.
Yeah.
But it's so good. What do you think? Do you think they're adding anything? The French have such strict rules about what you can put in your food and in your product.
Proper French butter will be cultured, left overnight to ferment.
Left overnight, yeah.
I mean, that's what, the bestest butter is going to be cultured butter.
Yeah.
And they're adding cultures to it to give it that flavor and make it consistent over time. So
I wonder if they're doing that in Ireland. I wonder if Kerrygold, the butter they sell in Ireland, is the same or if it's different.
Do we have any Irish people?
Yeah, anybody in Ireland?
Mm-hmm. Vermont Creamery is a very good choice of butter.
Yeah, that's what we use. That's sort of my go-to butter when I don't want to shell out as much money. Although I don't think it's that much cheaper than Kerrygold, honestly, but I like it.
Just you buy your Kerrygold. I mean, maybe we should have gotten a little concerned when Kerrygold is being sold at Costco, but it's being sold at Costco, guys. So go buy it at Costco.
I have to switch. I am. Oh, this is something people should definitely do. I like, Scott Galloway. He has that whole unsubscribe thing, and so I unsubscribed from Amazon Prime, which was very hard. It was shocking how much I relied on that. Like, order something, it arrives in 2 hours or the next day.
Yep.
But I thought, I gotta sign up for Costco now because I stopped going to Costco at some point because I had a thing of oregano, and I was like, there is no outside of an institutional context, there is nobody who can use this much oregano. It's like a gallon of oregano.
Nobody in their life needs that much oregano.
Yeah. So I was like, I need stuff. This is not saving me any money. But maybe I should go back now, both for political reasons and if they're gonna sell shit like Kerrygold butter.
They sell Kerrygold butter, and she goes to her cabinet and she shows you they're pure vanilla. Which is, look how big. See? Look, it's as big as my head. Well, sort of.
Oh my God. And that's real vanilla?
And it's real vanilla. And it's really good. And it costs like $11.99 for all of this. And you can't get a little, your McCormick's is going to cost $1 billion.
No.
And right now, if you sign up for a Costco membership today, I can promise you'll find a container this big, which you can't really tell what that is on the screen, but let's say it's about 4 inches high, 3 inches high, of Nielsen Massey vanilla paste.
No. Okay, I'm going this afternoon
for a very reasonable price.
My husband gets back from the airport, we're going to go to Costco. Anything, guys, put in the comments, is there anything else we should get? I feel like I've come to this country from away, and now I have discovered.
But remember,
the ladies should buy. What else should I get at Costco?
It's so nice. help the ladies with what she
Oh my
should
god,
buy from the
we said we were
Costco.
only gonna say sour things. By the way, please just do that. Go to Scott Galloway's, I can't remember the name of the website, but just Google it and just do pick up like 2 things to unsubscribe from. Like, we still take, we still have Apple. I still have Netflix, although there's nothing on Netflix. I might
Yeah.
once, until there's something on, I might cancel. But just unsubscribe from 2 things. Apparently, according to him, if you unsubscribe from one thing only,
Yeah.
then you are costing them $10,000 in market cap. I don't know what
Mm.
market cap is, to be clear, but I know it's costing them $10,000 of also ChatGPT, just please fucking stop using that. If you need to use AI, which okay, fine, I get it. I use it sometimes too. We use Claude. But okay, what is buy
Nope,
spices?
she
What
doesn't
else
buy the
is there?
spices there. I stopped Target too.
Target and
I
Lowe's.
also stopped
Yeah,
Target
yeah.
and no
Like
Home Depot.
no Home Depot.
But
So
uh,
what else? What am I
I'll
buying
tell
at
you what
Costco?
else
I'm
to buy at
going today.
Costco.
Also, do I bring my own bags like at a normal grocery store?
I mean,
No?
yeah, but leave them in your car. They'll
Okay.
pack up you can also get boxes and fill those up.
Okay.
People, let us help her out with her Costco visit. Do you do
I
any
know the
gardening?
Washington Post, me too.
Fuck you, Washington. Oop,
Yeah.
sorry. Um, do you do any gardening? Because if you do gardening, it's a great place for it.
I do not now. I had a brief COVID gardening thing where I was digging trenches. I don't like to plant anything, but I do like to dig big holes in trenches. And I was also, okay, wait for this. Because we were in our house in Maine, which is really far from anyone, I was doing naked gardening in a pair of rubber boots. That was quite a delightful. That's when I knew I had really sunk to the lowest of like COVID despair. Like I was like out in the yard digging a French drain, digging a trench for a French drain, wearing a pair of rubber boots and nothing else. And also, I had gained 60 pounds because I was making a lot of cookies, and I was just like, "I think this is the apocalypse." This is actually
Have you considered that as the next opening of a Netflix special?
or just my author photo, really.
Just with your shovel. I think actually that's great. Himalayan pink salt, great prices.
Oh,
Dog
okay.
treats, great prices.
Alright.
Dog toys,
Don't
brilliant.
keep talking about dogs.
I'm
Our
sorry.
dog
I'm
just
sorry. I'm
died.
sorry. And
Our
I'm sorry.
beloved dog, Agnes, just died.
Huh?
My Instagram feed right now is, heated rivalry,
Yeah.
of course.
Hmm.
Palestine, because whatever, we don't need to talk about that. And quilting and Labrador puppies. Oh my god, just Google English Labrador puppies.
They're
It's
all
the
chunk. They're
Oh my
all.
god, they're just so chunky, they're like, oh, it's like yeah, I know. I'm like, we cannot get a dog right now. We do not have time to raise a puppy right now, but oof, those are cute. So
Yeah, right.
don't give me pet stuff at Costco because
No,
they
no,
will
you don't
we
need it. You can just walk right by it. Obviously toilet paper. Obviously, paper towels if you are I mean, you live in Berkeley, you may not use paper towels.
oh,
Um,
please. I
um,
use recycled ones.
also, I don't know if you drink, but, let's talk about
No, the English Labradors look like they have the same sort of general
but they
coat
have
and stuff as Labrador,
English
but they're
woman legs.
squat. Yes, they have
Yeah.
squat legs and really big barrel chested. So they look and apparently they're missing the gene that tells them they're full. They have like the opposite of a GLP-1. So they're like super stocky and kind of voraciously hungry and they look sort of hilarious and they have big blocky heads. They're not sort of slender like American Labs. That's
No,
the difference.
they are, and,
I love them. I love the way they look. I think they
our
just look
my neighbor
hilarious.
has one, and I feed it treats out of my door slot. Like, I'll just stick a tr so she always comes up to my house, and she's like, "Hey, food."
We had a couple of Labradoodles and, I know they get a bad rap, but we really loved our Labradoodles. But there's just something about those English Labs, although I do hear that the shedding is unholy. And the reason we had Labradoodles is because we had a Bernese Mountain Dog, and I killed 2 Dyson animal vacuum cleaners. I could have I could have knitted sweaters for an entire
Oh.
mountain village out of what my Bernese Mountain Dog shed, and I just kind of hit the wall with that. And now, of course, everything is like I'm saying. I don't think I mind dog hair that much. We could get a Labrador. And my husband's like, you hate dog hair. You
It'll
hate
get
dog hair.
you'll find it under like you'll sew things and it'll be permanent part of your fabric. I'm just saying because I
Ew,
have a
no,
dog that
no.
creates tumbleweeds.
What kind of dog?
He's half Newfoundland and half border collie.
Oh my God, that is a lot of fur, but so
It's
cute. Is he huge?
he's like 70 pounds, big white ruff.
Oh,
That's very cute.
sweet.
Liquor, very good choice at Costco. Costco gin,
Oh my
Costco
God. Hi,
rum.
Karen. Nice to see you. Blast from the past. I just saw someone pop up who I like
Oh,
met when I was in sixth grade. You get 5% back in rewards on gasoline.
gasoline's also
You know,
cheaper. Not that any gas is cheap now.
we have always had an electric car, but
Oh,
uh
Berkeley. I keep forgetting you live in
yeah,
Berkeley or
but
we
we had to give ours back at the end of the lease, and then we decided not to buy another car, so we're driving my mother-in-law's 28-year-old Mercedes, which is a great car. It'll drive forever. And then I took my daughter's Subaru Forester.
Mhm.
So I would like you to imagine my daughter went to Vassar. What do a Vassar girl's bumper stickers look like?
I know exactly what they look like because I went
Yeah,
to school in Western Massachusetts.
I am tooling around town in one of those. But those are gas cars, and that's why I'm buying gas for this all the time now. So I think that's a great reason to go to Costco. Okay, good, done, mission accomplished.
Does it say my karma ran over your dogma? Anyone that one or
It might
my
as well. Oh, here, I have a great like bumper sticker store. Are we just? Should we just shut up? Do people want to leave? But I mean, I guess you can leave. You don't have to keep listening to us. My daughter. So my daughter.
people keep joining, so hello.
Yeah. She put a bumper sticker. She had a country music radio show at Vassar, which was so popular that like truckers who were driving through Poughkeepsie would tune in and call her. They'd be like, "Hi, Ada Rose, can you give me?" And they'd like make requests. At first it was called "You Only Think You Don't Like Country," and then it was called "Sweetheart of the Rodeo." Such a great name. So, she's obsessed with country music. She's infected her whole family. We're all obsessed with country music now. She put a bumper sticker on the back of her car that said, "I need you more than want you, and I want you for all time," which is a lyric from the Wichita Lineman. And then she matched on Hinge with a lineman for Amtrak. And he's the greatest guy in the world. We're all completely crazy about him. And she literally manifested her boyfriend. Oprah would be so proud. It is the secret. She put a bumper. So, like, that's the new thing, folks. If you need a new romantic partner, go for it. Find a bumper sticker. So now I am driving a car that has "I need you more than want you, and I want you for all time" among its many bumper stickers.
Oh, that's brilliant. I think
Isn't
first
that adorable?
we need to find our country song, and then you need to
Yeah, you have
manifest
to
the
pick your
person from
country
the
song.
song. Yeah.
Tyler Childers, highly recommend. He's one of my favorites.
My mother used
Waxahachie.
the one my mother used to quote was, "I'm lying down with tears in my ears because 'cause I'm crying over you."
Oh, I love that. That's really sweet.
Tears in your ears.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I really like talking to you, and I
I know
find
we
this
should do this again. We should have like a regular monthly chat date.
we should definitely do that, and these
Let's do
people could
that.
join us, and I wanna point
Yeah.
out to people that not only do you have a new novel coming out in May called A Perfect Hand that we are all
Pre-order.
looking
Pre-orders help.
pre-order, everybody loves a pre-order, we all beg you for pre-orders.
You know why we do? Just like a little tip, like this is
Yeah.
actually the reason that authors abase themselves begging you to pre-order our book. It's so embarrassing, is because bookstores decide how many, and even the juggernaut, like He Who Shall Not Be Named, and the other ones, they decide how many books to order based on the pre-orders, and then the publishers decide how many books to print based on that. So it's like it means everything in terms of the ultimate success of a book.
Yep, absolutely. Um, A Perfect Hand is out in May, courtesy of our friends at Penguin Random House. And you have a new Substack. You gave birth to a
Yes.
Substack, and I have found it to be
It's such a curious thing, right? Most writers don't do this. Yeah. my choice.
Someday I want to direct. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
But it is
So yeah,
delightful.
and today when we hang up, I am going to write an essay for my Substack, trying to get to the heart of why I'm so obsessed. Why the three, like I said, the three things that I watch or read over and over again are Heated Rivalry, Four Weddings and a Funeral, and Persuasion by Jane Austen. And I, I think I know the thread, and the thread that connects all of these is poignant yearning. I think that's it. I think that's what I'm looking at. So if you have any thought, actually just feel free to like, if you're on Substack, which you are because you're here, just send me some comments if you have thoughts for the essay that I'm writing today.
And I'll even go so forward to make this suggestion that if you and I met up again, let's say in about a month, even closer to your book coming out, have I pushed it enough?
I think so. Good job. Well done.
Yeah. Is between now and then, everyone here can watch Heated Rivalry, read Persuasion, and watch Four Weddings and a Funeral, and then we can all come back and talk about them.
Brilliant idea. That's such a great idea. Oh my God.
Okay.
Dude, we just yeah, we should get a job at like some, media company publishing or stuff. No, that's a fucking great idea. I can't wait. We're going to do that.
Okay.
And so you sit down, tell your daughter. I'm not sure how I would feel about watching Heated Rivalry with my daughter.
I don't want to watch. That's why I'm going to do it on my own.
It's kind of a lot, but you can watch simultaneously and just like do, talk about it with them. But yeah, let's do that. Let's talk. Send me some dates. Let's do that in a month.
Okay, let's definitely do that.
Book, movie, TV club.
Book, movie, TV. We need some acronym. Okay, boom-tive. No, sounds like Hebrew. Anyway, which goes back to the beginning of this. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you.
Darling, thank you so much. Lovely talking.
You are lovely.
Talking.
And everybody here, I'm putting out a Substack. It's going to have the recipe for this,
this,
for these. And we're going to make a plan. And just to look a little less far ahead than the book, movie, TV is on March 25th, my birthday. I will be celebrating my birthday. Anyway, I'll be celebrating my birthday with fellow birthday person, Rachel Vindman. So at 5:30 on March 25th Eastern Time, we will be enjoying cocktails and cookies or whatever together. So I hope people will join us then. Feel free to join us, Ayelet. We'd love to see you. And everybody else here. But it was, thank you.
So much fun.
You guys are the best.
So
thank you so much for being here, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.